All right, back again. Back again, and I'm going to be covering a topic that I've been looking forward to taking a look at. And it, as the title suggests, as the thumbnail suggests, we're going to be looking at what I consider the most effective budget kit that you can get as of level 10. So this is something that you won't have available to you, readily available to you anyways, sub level 10. So if you're still trying to get there, I encourage you to go back and check out some earlier videos in this series. It showcases my successes and struggles on the way to level 10 on a standard account. And have finally reached the point where most people feel like the game changes significantly, and I would say that it does. And if you were here during the last stream at the end, I actually covered this very content, but I'm going to go into it with the purpose of showcasing specifically this, and then we'll go in and show how it performs in the raid. So welcome back. If it's your first time here, I stream mostly educational content for Tarkov, and I do make some video guides which are still being worked on, but very, very slowly right now as I accommodate for the amount of schoolwork that I'm taking on currently. And I look forward to getting into more video content as the school year ends, or the term ends rather, which actually is coming up pretty soon, near the third week of April actually. So anyways, let's see what we got here. I was wondering if those would show up. There's a little gag left by a friend. Anyway, we won't go into that. So the kit that I want to showcase is actually right here. There's nothing special about the kit in that I need to secretly reveal or whatever and secretly hide. And it requires only a few things that you would get from the flea market. So that's why it's level 10 dependent, and there's two things significantly. So we're gonna take a look at each piece, and I'll explain why I consider this to be one of the best kits or best loadouts. And here I'll complete in terms of the meds and whatnot. Go. So this is very similar to what I would be running normally. Let's put a fresh one of those on. And I just need to get some magazines. Okay, so this is exactly it. So I'll go through the armor components first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the weapon. And everything here is of what I would consider a budget price. Now, some people might argue that a budget weapon is something that is incredibly cheap, realizing that a loadout should be effective, and it should be usable to someone of most skill levels, in my opinion. So if you're trying to go in the raid with the cheapest possible loadout, like this is not that, but this is still what I would consider a budget loadout. And the level of budget really is relative to your ability to make money in Tarkov. So if you're finding that you are stuck and struggling with money, I encourage you to take a look at my 400k scav run series, and I'll even do one of those this stream here. So I'll do a money run, and I'll show you just how easy it is to actually acquire income needed to be able to create this loadout infinitely. Like you would never break your bank using this loadout if you know how to do a scav run for money. So that's why I consider it budget. So it's something that you can do indefinitely here. So right off the bat, the easy ones to point out are, we have this basic headset, which you've probably seen in the game already. You can get from the traders. And I'll try and show you each piece at a time. So they've been moving some items around, but on proper, we can see here he sells these headphones, and headphones in the game are pretty important. If you're using a helmet that doesn't allow headphones, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage in one way and trading for an advantage in another. Usually it's a higher tier helmet, or maybe it's a low cost helmet with a face shield of some sort. But if you're using a normal helmet, I would recommend using some sort of headgear. And then the helmet that we're using is this one. I'm going to show you the cheaper way to acquire this helmet. So this is the one that's the 6B47 Ratnik, And we can also get it from Ragman for a barter trade. So we can see here, bleach. If we go to the flea market, type in the name bleach. You can see that bleach is, you know, somewhere under 12K. So we're looking at on the cheap ends, like I can see here, I could buy a couple of these if I wanted to. I don't really want to buy them right now. I don't have the space to hoard this kind of stuff. But if you have a scav junk box, you could come check the flea market. A really common way that I do this is I'll right click it and I'll add it to my wish list. So whenever I, you know, log on, I'll have a look and see. I usually will get rid of bartering offers, and I'll see, like, are there some cheap ones here? If yes, I'll buy a couple. If no, like, you know, maybe the price gets driven up a little bit, but it seems to be pretty stable below 12K. And the reason I bring that up is because for the higher costs, 24K for this helmet here, and you could substitute this helmet. The differences being, if we want to look at the stats, so armor points on this one, 25, ricochet chance, both high, armor class, both level 3. Where the Ratnik takes an advantage is in the ergonomics penalty. And ergonomics is the speed in which your character's going to ready their weapon. So that can be a benefit to having the lower ergonomic penalty. I find this helmet to be fine, the SSH. So you could go really either way, but this is equal price or better in terms of the barter that you get with Ragman. So I would consider this potentially a superior helmet. There is a slight trade-off with the hearing distance that your character will have. It's minimal, but whenever you get that ear protection, you do lose a little bit of hearing. So that's our helmet. And our headset, I would recommend using some kind of face mask. If you don't use them yet, the reason that I use them is if you're taking cover inside of any area that's, you know, you're taking advantage of foliage or some sort of tree, your character's face, because of how pale it is actually going to stand out a little bit. So I would encourage you to consider using a face mask. The glasses really don't matter with this particular version. They do give you some protection against flashbangs, which I haven't really taken advantage of. You may, you know, make an argument to say that they're necessary. A word of caution, though, that glasses, when it rains, actually do cause a reflection. So if someone's looking at you from a distance, they'll see your glasses light up like they're lit. And so that could be a disadvantage. So, you know, use the glasses if you want. Definitely not required. And then continuing on with the rest of our kit, this is my go-to, like, this is the perfect leveling and learning armor. So if you're someone that dies a lot, or even if you don't die a lot, this is the one, the press armor. It's called Zuck 3 in the on the flea market, so ZHUK-3. You look this up, this armor is great. It's got 50 HP, it repairs really well, the penalties on it are low, it protects your stomach and your thorax. It comes back in insurance quite regularly, it's cheap to repair. Like, there's almost nothing wrong with this, or nothing bad with this armor. Where you'll see that it becomes any kind of issues if someone's using high quality ammo, it basically ignores this armor. So what can you expect this armor to protect you against? Mostly scavs, some low level players. If a player is mid tier or above, the armor is not going to do a lot for you. And so what I would encourage you to consider is that you play assuming that your weakness is that you can't take shots against somebody, so you're not going to run out in front of a person and trade damage with them. You're going to want to, you know, shoot them as they are moving along and you ambush them, or you take advantage of the situation in the sense that you're basically, you don't want to get shot by them, but it will protect you against scavs, and so that makes it a good learning armor. Anything else is kind of unnecessary at this point, and also not really available. If you're going to pay for armor on the flea market, you're paying a lot. The rig that I prefer to use is this one. It's called a WT rig, and I just go to the flea market and type in war. So these two items here I get on the flea market. You can make a trade for the Zuck 3 press armor. If I go filter by item here, we'll see that it's around 35 to 40K. It does get less than this at various points, and if you found that it was getting too much, there's actually a barter for it. I can't remember who has it now. I think it's Skier. So here it is. You could buy a cat and, the pom-pom off of the flea market. And I would literally just go and type in cat. So you get a cat figurine here for 27K. And then we type in palm. We can get this for 10K. So, you know, it's getting close to that 40K mark anyways, but the armor being 40K is awesome. And again, like it comes back in insurance often. This ends up being a very cheap armor and very effective against prominently scavs. So if you run into player scavs or whatnot. So this is like, you know, the core armor and equipment kit. The staple for me is a burqa backpack as well. If you're using backpacks that are smaller than this, you're lowering your earning potential in the raid. So there's a definite trade-off, and I understand that a lot of people in the beginning of the game, they feel like they don't have enough money to buy all of these things. And again, I'll refer back to what I mentioned at the beginning. I encourage you to figure out some sort of loot route that you can do to consistently earn money. Specifically, you know, doing it on your scav is quite easy. And if you're lost on this or you feel like you're not making that much, like look up some videos online and figure what route fits your game interest. And if you're wanting one that's easy, if you want to do hidden caches, which is pretty low key on your scav, I make a ton of content for that. Just go back and look at my live series. It will teach you how you can make around 400K in you know, I would say 15 to 20 minutes on any scav run. Like my consistency with it is unreal, and it requires knowledge of items, extracts, and the one particular route that I have, which you can learn all in those videos. And I've taught tons of new people to play the game, and none of them are poor. Not a single one of them, as long as they followed learning some sort of loot route. And then I guess the last part, or well, the last like kind of combination here we'll take a look at is the weapon. So this becomes available to you at the flea market, level 10, and all of the mods that I've put on the gun are available through my traders. So I haven't done anything extravagant with the weapon, and this is where some people might argue that it's not budget, but it effectively is a budget weapon. It's just not budget in the terms that you're going to spend, you know, 10 or 15K. This gun is 10 times more effective than any of those super cheap weapons that you're going to get. And if you're running terrible ammo and a terrible weapon in the game, your survival rating is going to go down significantly. This is where I would start investing your money. And again, if you're making enough money in the game, you can buy these infinitely. I will never use a weapon worse than this RPK. So the weapon is an RPK. I typically take 1 magazine in the weapon and 2 extras in my rig. And I use BT rounds, which are cheaper on the flea market than you can buy through the traders. And the reason for this is that there's just an absolute abundance of the ammo in the game. Now, when you go to buy your rounds, like let's say, you know, you're purchasing the 90 for the 3 mags, that's 30K. And again, this is going to seem like a lot to a brand new player, but it really isn't. Ammo needs to be respected and is one of the most important things that you can do, and this is as cheap as it really gets. If you're using lower tier ammo, you're going to lower the amount of situations that you're able to be successful in, and I find that this weapon just in general is so user friendly. It's got really controllable recoil from a base level. It outperforms almost all of the other 545 AKs, especially once modded, but at a base level, if you were to mod a 545, like a 74N, an AK-74N, if you were to mod that pretty well, you would get your recoil to around 70 if you were to spend a lot of money on it. So this one as a base comes really low. And all I've done is add 2 components, or 3, sorry. So I've added this Zenit RK6 foregrip. I've added the Zenit RP1 charge handle for the AK. I've added a flashlight, which we'll talk a little bit about here in a moment. And then I have also added a sight. So these 4 components are the things that I've changed on my gun. Otherwise, it's completely stock. And I'll explain a little bit about these. So the sight, obviously you can have anything that you, or use anything that you've already found. This one is a cheap one found on Proper. I'll show you in just a moment. Laser devices, you can go with any laser device. If you don't know what they do yet, they narrow the grouping when you're hip firing your weapon. And then in this case here, this one doubles as a flashlight, which I do use whenever I'm in dark areas. Foregrip is primarily a recoil-based attachment, or recoil-based interest. This one happens to add some ergonomics as well. I'll show you where to find that. And then this charge handle here just adds more ergonomics. And again, that's your aim down sights time. And I'll show you how this weapon functions. I'm going to go play a raid here in a moment. So we'll just equip this back, show you where you can get these items. So again, you know, all available at level 1, or sorry, level 10, level 1 traders. So most of these attachments are, you know, you've already unlocked them and you probably use them. So we have our sight, which is about 10k. We go over to skier. This is where the charge handle is. And the ergonomics does help. If you're not using these things yet, then you know you might just be behind the confidence wall of, can I spend this money on my gear yet? And the answer is yes, you can. And it's way better to learn with guns that are a little bit more fun and a little bit more stable. So you have these two components here, and then the last one, you can buy a flashlight off of the flea market. And honestly, like, any of them will work. You could even just use a plain old flashlight. I find these when I'm raiding, and I just keep them collected on a sprut from a shotgun. So they're just ones that I find. My preference, if you wanna copy this, is called the X400 tactical flashlight, and it will run you a bit. So if you're wanting to save, if you really want to save money and go the budget route here, you could go with a blue laser, which we find at skier level 1, and it's this N-Star blue laser. And the only disadvantage of this is it doesn't have a flashlight, and it will actually be blue on the screen. So I'm going to take this into a raid, and the reason why I carry these meds is because I find that I need something to take care of heavy bleeds. I need something to take care of light bleeds. I need something to fix broken limbs. And then this is my HP resource here. Carry an extra stack of ammo, and then I'm trying to figure out what I want. So I could actually replace my splints with something else, but I think I'm going to keep doing this for now. I like to have a CMS, which allows me to fix a broken limb in the raid, and then the extra stack of ammo is quite helpful. Something you could add into if you want. We go here. So I'm going to bring just an extra stack of PS rounds. I find that sometimes I will run out of ammo, so I bring a stack of what I would consider like garbage ammo. So the PS rounds aren't going to help you against a lot of things, but against scavs, it's reasonably okay. And this is just in case I run out of ammo towards the end, and I just need to be able to clear scavs. It's not going to be good against players. So let's take this budget loadout for a spin. The cost of it all ends up working out to be close to 200k, which again, like, is going to freak a lot of people out. But when you factor in that the armor comes back most of the time, and the armor's 40k, like the costs end up going down significantly when you realize that insurance provides most of your items back for you. Same thing with a backpack. Same with the rig, the headset. The helmets often come back too. So many of these items that are taking up some of that, 200k initial cost, like the cost over time is actually quite a bit less. What's up, Carlos? For the Koba, do you add the black circle thing? That is actually a good recommendation, and it does increase the ergo, so that would be a smart choice. I just, for whatever reason, always forget that one. Yeah, this is the budget loadout right here. And when I first played, this being called a budget loadout didn't make sense to me, but it was because I hadn't figured out a loot route yet. As soon as I figured that out, this loadout was my like go-to. I used a weapon that was a bit cheaper, but this one, as soon as I discovered the RPK, I fell in love with the functionality of it at a very low level. And this loadout is specifically cheap because of where we are on the wipe. This would be a bit more expensive if this was early wipe. The BT rounds, especially the rig, like most of these items would be a bit more expensive. But because of where we are now, a lot of these things are considered low tier. And so they become just a fair bit cheaper on the flea market. and yeah, this gun is great. It's great for taking down mid-level players. You can definitely take down a high-level player if you get shots on face, because these bullets will pen face shields. Up until you get to an Alton. An Alton you might run into some trouble with. And then as far as scavs, this is going to take down any of them. I'll be able to fight scab bosses if I want. I actually should have checked in with my tasks, but that's besides the point. I'm just gonna do like what I would consider a classic loot run or an EXP generating run, and we'll see how that goes. What I'm hoping will happen is that I will be in the proximity and be able to take down a player, or I'll be able to take down scab bosses. And yeah, another nice aspect of this, and just to expand on what I was mentioning earlier, is that the weapon is good. It's nice to use. Some of the really budget weapons are quite difficult to handle, and this starts getting into that range where, you know, you're gonna fire the weapon and it's gonna feel nice. Whereas in the beginning, using these stock 545 weapons, the first, I don't know, 10, 12 bullets, they kick so hard that you're going to end up missing a lot of your shots strictly due to the weapon. And so where this weapon counters that scenario is the base stats on it are quite good. So you end up getting into this territory of new weapon class where, you know, a lot of people will find a finely kitted weapon off of a player, and then they'll just take it to practice with. They'll take it offline, and they're like, wow, this feels so awesome. Well, this is like the caliber of weapon where the guns start to feel awesome. And I think that matters, because you're gonna feel more confident as a player. You're gonna win more situations. You're gonna make it out alive more often. You're gonna earn more EXP. You're gonna be completing your tasks more frequently. And so that the benefits far outweigh the costs. And if anything, like, you're going to be earning more income by using a slightly better loadout, as long as you're supplementing your time with, you know, the knowledge increases that you need. If you're ignoring learning the maps in the beginning, you'll pay for it by being out of place far too often. Well, let's see here. So my main goal is going to be to hit these things that I'm getting right now. This is a hidden loot cache. It's one of the things that I use, or the main thing that I use to make money in the game. And we'll just start collecting the gears. I'm just going to loot these things and then discard them because I don't really need to keep them. Make sure my device is on, and this is where I might run into a player. I'm going to need to put my sensitivity up just a little bit more. Well, that's too much. So I'm actually going to move towards engaging with this, or at least engaging in the area. So I'm not necessarily going to run at the shots, but I know that there's somebody down here. It sounds like he has a bigger gun. Like that sounded like a 7.62 by 5.1 weapon. Like maybe an M1A. See if I can go get involved. I believe I just heard a step on my right. Tricky thing is he would have, if there is a person there, they would have heard me running, so they'll know where I am. Trying to look for evidence of this fight. So I'm going to check this container to my left. Alright. I thought the fight was a little bit closer. I did just see someone running right to left out there. Gonna continue on with a bit of my looting before I head on into the other side. I think these are the new... Or no, they're not one of the new ammos. Oh, look at these pistols. Get rid of them. So that was a scav. Steps on wood. Which places the person in that building right on the other side of this wall. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and challenge this dude in the building. Poor guy missed every shot. When I came in, I looked up and to the left and saw that there's a room open. Just realized that I'm doing... Oh, I thought I'd left my flashlight on. I don't know... That was not an NPC, I don't think. So this room right up here. Actually need to go AFK for a moment. Hopefully I come back to it in a live player. Oh, that's nice. Still here. So I'm curious if that was a PMC of some sorts. So I mostly just want to clear the rest of the building. Was a PMC. Okay, so this is perfect, right? So this guy is using what we would call the budget kit. He's using a cheap pistol. He's got some normal meds. He's got a room 214 key. But yeah, he's got the same backpack. He's got a bigger rig, which is nice because I'm gonna take that. He's got this fancy, gas mask, which is kind of cool looking. I don't even know if we take this off, can I wear it? No, because of my helmet. But let's grab it for now. We're gonna grab his pistol. We're gonna grab all of his things. So in his budget run, he's not capable of killing my character unless he hits me right in the face. And now I get to take all of his hard-earned loot. So I got some more rounds here. I'm actually not gonna take his mask. Got some SNB ammo, which is sweet. Some fuel conditioner, that's money. And what can we get rid of? We're actually going to get rid of his pistol. Nothing in the wallet. So the wallet might be worth taking. Probably just going to drink this. I think this will be good. And actually what I want is for this to be organized the other way around, but this will be alright. Okay. Budget versus budget. Oh yeah, we're going to take his rig. Let's just get rid of all that crap. And I could hide this rig a little bit more, but I'm not worried about that one rig being taken. And I guess I can take more stuff now. Let's grab that. So he's doing probably something similar to what I am. A budget run, low level. Maybe he's tasking. He could be just going for money and experience, of course. So I'm going to insurance fraud my backpack here in a moment. Got a nice little spot I like to use. It's right here. Gonna ditch my bag. Just control click and everything. I'll have to move some items down, but we're doing all right. All right, so let's reorganize just a little. Keep all my valuable items towards the bottom. That way, if I need to get rid of anything, then I know which ones to cut from the loadout. Got some extra ammo, which is sweet. Got some grenades. Just gonna keep my ammo down here now. Got some other ammo. Awesome. So what I'll hope to do is get another rig to expand my space, and this is like, this is perfect setup for just continuing my loot run. Double checking my mags, we're all good. I decided to use this new med. Got some backup meds. And now this backpack I'll more than likely get back in insurance. I think I'm getting to the point now too, in the wipe where the CMS kit that I have can be purchased reasonably cheap. I just can't remember what it is on the flea market, so I'm hesitant to replace it in my inventory. But that's, you know, now I want to start min-maxing my space here. So 35 rounds. Interesting. 35 rounds here. I'm trying to remember. 90 was 15k, so this is probably only like 5k. So it would make sense for me to put something else in my container. Like in this case here, a fuel conditioner is probably going to be the right play. I'll just keep more of my rounds on me. But yeah, here's what I would, you know, assuming that this can be purchased for around 15, 20k, it might make more sense for me to put something else. We'll see. So there's another weapons case there. I'm actually just I'm gonna leave this area. Get some more of the loot caches on the way. This building's actually really good. I should check. So, but this other player may have already been in here. It does seem that way. Definitely. All he left was a hard drive. It's okay, we got a bunch of his stuff. Why collect your own loot when someone else can collect it for you? So I just don't want my back to be exposed here for too long, so I'm running. Evidence that maybe a player has extracted already. We'll continue on. So this is a nice way for me to earn EXP. I'm getting additional time in the map, which is great too. You know, when you're thinking about how you can go about exploring in a meaningful way, rounds like this are a nice way to do that. Can't remember. I think I'm gonna do that. Thank you. Love you. Yeah, so this is great for map learning. So I'm taking my time. I'm gonna be earning income on my character, getting more and more familiar with the map. And like I said at the very beginning, like the gear maybe on the outset at the very beginning seems like it costs a lot, but in the scheme of like being able to earn income. Okay, here was the fight. Being able to earn income is not difficult. And once you get a good loot route down, being able to use more effective budget gear is the way to go. And everything about this kit is budget in that context. And that dude might have survived a lot longer if he was wearing a kit similar to mine. Oh, thanks, Reflex. Appreciate you, dude. He's one of the homies. I play a lot of Apex Legends with Reflex. It's been my fun, like, go-to, just enjoy some game time game. So now I'm going to make my way across the map, looking for these hidden caches as I go, filling my bag. Once I run out of space, I'm going to look to constantly be upgrading the dollars per square that I'm getting. And when I say dollars per square, oh, so someone has already hit this too. dollars per square, whatever the item value would be sellable for, divided by the number of squares that it takes up. So some items that you don't want to be using, or to keep rather, in your backpack would be a stock weapon. Unless you don't have access to it and you really need weapons, it doesn't make sense to bring weapons out. So once you get to level 10, you buy your weapons off of the flea market or from the vendors. They're generally just as cheap on the flea market or cheaper. So you no longer really want to take out stock weaponry, with a few exceptions. There's some guns that are worth more, but they are very few compared to the majority. This guy was level 23, doing pistol runs. So like this right here, this would be a terrible takeout, because this gun's worth about 15k, and I would divide it by 6 squares. That's less than 3,000 per square. And then same thing with these. So weapon parts are worth about 10k, and it comes out to be 5,000 per square. Battery about 4,000, so that'd be 4,000 per square, under 3,000 per square. Whereas like wires, 12,000 per square in and around. RAM, last I checked, they were between 15 and 18,000. These are around 25,000-ish. I can't remember. It might even be closer to 30. That kind of information will take some time for a player to develop, but all it takes is time and a little bit of paying attention. So if you see an item and you're not sure, you know, maybe take something you're not familiar with out now and again, just so you get the opportunity to see. Like, you know, sometimes I check an item and I'm like, oh, that wasn't worth very much. And I like to check things more than once too, because occasionally I'll find an item. I can't remember if these filters are worth it. Let's grab it for now. Occasionally I'll find an item that I previously had written off as low value, and then I'll take it out and get surprised. So that log looked a lot like a crouching player. Even had a little bit of shine to it on the corner. Something I've been learning to do less and less in Tarkov is to hesitate when I have clear shots on an enemy and I'm in an advantageous position. I used to wait for what I would call the perfect opportunity, but quite often it's, you know, when you have good shots and the person's in the open, you should take your shots then, not look for like the most perfect. Then the opportunity goes away. Then you might chase it down, trying to recreate that opportunity, and then you get yourself blasted. So less hesitation. We don't need no measuring tapes. So I'm looting some of these things just for the sake of getting experience on my character, because every little bit's going to add up. These level my skills too, my soft skills. So all of this stuff over time is going to help improve my character. And this is very similar to the route that I take when I'm doing my money runs on a scav. The difference would be that I have a randomized loadout that I have no influence over. And the scav can just sell everything that they have. Whereas, you know, on my PMC, I'm probably not going to want to sell some of this other gear. So again, just picking some of these things up to get my looting experience. And I do believe when you're looting items, when you pick them up for the first time in the raid, like so when I picked up that first PM pistol in the raid, I get experience then. I don't think I get experience for consecutive PM pistols picked up. And occasionally I'll see people post on a place like Reddit where they're like, I can't find PM pistols, where are they? I've found 3 this raid so far, so looting those caches is a good way to get them. Killing scavs is another good way to get them. Those caches definitely seem to just, you know, be in there. There's definitely some luck involved in finding particular things, but yeah, it's a quest that's fairly long down the road. I wouldn't recommend a level, you know, 10 player collecting PM pistols for later, unless you have an abundance of space. I mean, you could. But again, I don't find them particularly hard to find. So you'll notice that I'm just walking here, and I talk about this when I play quite a bit. I'm just being hyper aware of my my surroundings, and I could get jumped by somebody that's crouching in a bush that I fail to see, but I do find myself fairly good at spotting players, and moving around like this allows me to stay... Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reload. And then while I'm looting this, I'm going to pack my mag. So I'll click and drag onto there. I find myself fairly good at spotting, and while I'm moving around in this methodical fashion, I'm making like very low amounts of sound noise, or sound noise. Very, very low amounts of noise, which in turn makes me harder to detect just as I'm walking around. So I'm just searching here for the sake of getting EXP again. If you want to be the least vulnerable while looting but get the most value out of it, like let's say you don't plan on taking anything with you, you can just click a body. And when I say click, like you'll walk up to the body, press F on it or whatever your interact key is, and then immediately walk away. You'll get a fair amount of looting experience anytime you loot a body with items on it. And the experience is proportionate to the amount of items that the character has on them. So if a dude's like super loaded up with gear, you're going to get a bunch of EXP. If he's only got like a couple things, you're just going to get a minimal amount. I need to be checking for the sniper that's up there. The game didn't have the sniper scavs in it for so long that I've become complacent. Shit. See if we can show like how the weapon feels to me now. Ouch. This is a bad idea. So I'm gonna med, I'm gonna relocate. The scav's gonna be looking for me now. Reload. May as well pack my mag while I'm here. Take my time. So from that range, I probably needed to aim closer towards his like lower middle half, and then be pulling down on my mouse for recoil compensation. This gun's certainly not going to be a laser beam, at least not at this recoil level, but it is quite good from a range a little bit closer than that. No eyes on our guy. He might be doing the same thing that I'm doing here. Trying to get some sort of new angle on me. So I just heard bushes in front of me. There's more than one. Ooh. That was a shotgun. Scavs are scary, man. I can see that my energy's getting low. We gotta end this dude. So I'm just scoping out this guy's vest. It's possible that I killed that guy. Just don't see his body in a little heap anywhere. And now he's being sneaky. That's worrisome. Looking for some audio info here. I don't think we're going to get any. I'm going to put my BP rounds right here and my PS rounds right here. And what'll end up happening is I'll just use these 3 squares for my mags when I reload. Or not squares, those 3 rectangles. You gotta be careful too of staying in a place for this long in Tarkov and engaging for this length of time, because if I was earlier in the fight, someone would absolutely be moving towards my bullets already, and there may be somebody that's moving in on this location. We just don't know about them yet. So he was up there. He was behind that bush. I wonder where he decided to go. You know what? I'm just going to clear over here first. So I try to come around most corners, most angles, ready to fire with my gun going in the direction that I think is the most dangerous. And if I push into an area too far, I may have too many angles to cover. So I always try to limit that as much as I can. And sometimes they're just going to be dudes where you don't expect them. I gotta be careful of that area across from me. So I think because of the damage I put on this scav, he might be in a corner somewhere, like, just crying for help. We're gonna find out. Oh, that's him right there. Okay, another vest that I haven't seen before. This is another big one. Cool. So what I'm going to do is load up this vest with some of my meds and other things. I want to keep my meds, like the things I'm actively using, readily available, and then the rest of it can go into here. Nice. I'm just going to quickly check the time on the raid. So I got 12 minutes left. I don't like to take these big, awful backpacks, because they're quite visible. I don't like to take them earlier in the raid, but now I will. 104 key, cool. Let's just put this stuff in there. Put you there, you there. I'm going to eat this, or drink it, rather. While I'm performing an action, I can search, which is nice. So take advantage of that. Chocolate's actually worth quite a bit. It's 35k a square or so. And now we've got even more space. My character's going to be gaining strength soon, if not already. And we've got another weapon to sell that's not taking up. So this wouldn't be a good idea to keep in here, because again, like this gun isn't worth that much per square, because it takes up 10 squares. I'd say, like, let's say 30k. Divided by 10, 3,000 per square. But on my person, worth, you know? So then I would min-max this one space. I thought there was like 2 bodies there for a sec. So this is what I was talking about before when I wanted to min-max my we can just do that actually. I was just going to click him and then walked away, and then realized that I did want his stuff. just gonna quickly hop in here while I'm looting, organize my inventory a little more. And at this point, I'm just gonna take everything because I have all of the space. Eat the food. So this shotgun has one of these lights on it. This is how I end up with, you know, a fair amount of my lights is just from collecting them through fights like that. Yeah, I'm just gonna hold on to everything right now. My character isn't so overweight that I'm gonna run into problems with stamina. If I was running out of stamina, I would consider losing some of the shotgun shells or something. So still trying to be diligent about my clearing as I move. So the amount of players that will be in the raid at this time are significantly lower than they are in the beginning. I wouldn't necessarily give up on your tactical clearing of a location, and I would still keep alert, ready, and as I used the word diligent as you move. But you can expect to be able to move a bit more freely. Just a little clarification on it, though. I have been killed in the last couple minutes of the raid, like a number of times, because I was careless and didn't clear a corner. But in general, I will move a little bit quicker through the raid the later in the raid gets. Or the later it gets in the raid. Oh, got him. So these guys, I'll just do the quick click on. So click. Click. I'm actually going to grab this dude's sight. Run. Homie's out of breath. I grabbed this because it's something that can attach. I talk about this now and again. So if you look at the side of the AK, it's got this little bar right here. And that's exactly where these optics attach to. And this optic happens to be worth, like, you know, around 20k or so. So I'm observing my not my EXP, sorry, my stamina, and I notice that it is depleting as I walk, which is fine for me, but I can limit my weight if I need to or if I want to. Let's get a little reload in. I'm not going to bother topping up my mags with some amount of time. Let my stamina regain. And actually, maybe it makes sense for me to just ditch some of those rounds. So now I think I'm, oh no, I'm just still quite under. I'm still losing stamina. Okay. How about now? How about now? Yeah. Not gonna hunt for the elusive stamina regen now. It's nice to be overweight while you're moving around the map in this way, like when it's not a hindrance, and you can make it not a hindrance by making sure that you just take stamina breaks on occasion, and you probably won't want to run around a ton. But this is going to gain my character's strength experience, which does have a pretty big impact on the game experience. So I'll run faster, throw grenades farther. If I choose to melee somebody, I'll hit them harder. I'll be able to carry more weight. And this is also another reason why I recommend using at least this size of a backpack. Because getting up to this weight, or this size of a scab backpack, you can be overweight if you have two weapons, a rig inside of your backpack full with, you know, all this kind of gear. It's not uncommon for me to get to the weight where I'm gaining strength. Uh-oh. Sounds like... Huh. That sounded like a Keter. Trying to see if I can get a cheeky shot. don't think it's gonna happen. So I'm gonna guess that this is around a like 7,000 EXP raid, somewhere around there. If I make it out alive. We're not far from there, but from the extract, that is. So in terms of managing my stamina while I'm overweight, it might be wise for me to just take a moment right now and then continue on. Take a single step just to get my character out of that big open area a little quicker. Occasionally check behind me. Never know when a dude's gonna run up. And that's clear there. I'm gonna cross. I'm actually planning to go to Crossroads, but I want to check there's a loot spot right here. Right where that tape is, you can find some good valuable stuff. Just double checking my mags. May as well reload. And despite the fact that there's a bit of risk involved with me coming in here, I'm going to try and min-max this raid a little bit. I might find a scav or two. I'm feeling pretty confident in my gun. Also, I'm not opposed to mag dumping on something. And I can also get a nice little bit more income. Yeah, I can just drink this. I find this a good time to sort of, you know, make some discoveries about the map as well. As Xeno isn't worth very much, by the way. You know, this with the last few moments of a raid in an unfamiliar area that's close to the extract, it could be good to kind of peek around and see, you know, where can you find some decent loot. Learn where new containers are, something you didn't know about before. I'm always trying to figure out like where are all the duffel bags, where are all the weapons crates. So just check the time again. I don't know where that guy's hiding. Oh god! That step almost killed me. Just gonna click him for a little EXP, gonna reload. Little peeks around. Note the time again. I am gonna pack a little bit of ammo in here. Reload my weapon. So I don't want to run out of time, but I'm pretty conscious of how much time it's going to take me to get to the end. And I do want to get kind of greedy here. There was a dude hanging right behind there. I wasn't sure if that was the guy or not. The crowbar? Sure. What do you got? 10k in rubles? I like it. And let's not flirt with the time master anymore. So came around the corner ready to shoot. Same thing there. Would not be smart to be complacent here just in case someone else is coming in about as late as I am. And there we go. One nice good long raid. So I fought the actual budget player in the very beginning, and he lost horribly because his pistol sucks, as most do. And you know, he was using armor that, or he was using gear that wouldn't even be able to like you know, I'm in a different class of, or a caliber of player because of this mediocre gear against that specific, like, low caliber player, right? So we got 7k EXP, got a wealth of kills, one PMC, and a ton of loot. Like, too much in the context of, that was the scav that hit us in the end there. Too much loot in the context of our stash. So I'm going to try and sell this stuff quickly. See where I can get to here. And I'm curious about this pilgrim, if I'll be able to hold it. In my stash, that is. I don't know. Is this the same size? No, it's bigger. Awkward. So the pilgrim is beneficial to me in the later parts. I will need to have one of these, so I'm gonna try and keep it. Just don't like how big it is, you know. It's gonna limit my space. Let's do this. See if this. Maybe I'll go this way. Trying to keep some space for additional weapons, but the strategy I'm using right now, where I'm going to use something like the RPK most of the time, is going to help me to manage my space, because I won't need more than a couple of them. Like I'll maybe keep 2, max 3 others, and otherwise I'm just gonna get rid of most of my other weapons. I don't have the space afforded to me, so I can't be too generous with what I'm keeping. But let's see here. What can I do with my space? So I'm just going to get rid of that. I was going to get rid of this backpack in my stack, but again, like, you know, I only have the one, so I'm going to keep that. The shotgun, I don't think I need it for anything. So I'll take this laser off and I will put it in my stack. This little weapon part right here is part of a task, and so I'm going to sell it. I just happen to know that this is worth a bit more. So sell that on the market. I'm just going to sell the gun to trader. And the reason that piece is worth a bit more is because, one, it's a sight mount, and 2, I have it right here. This is used for Weaponsmith Part 1, which I could actually complete right now, but I'm not too worried about leveling up at this point. So that gun, let's just sell it to Mechanic. By the way, Mechanic pays the most for weaponry. So I'm just going to give that to him. The SKS, I think I was just going to get rid of 2. So let's get rid of that. I like to use my backpack as a sorting method. So I just pull my rig into my backpack, and now I can control click everything into the top of my inventory. Coincidentally, that's why I keep the top of my inventory organized in this way. The only thing that I did while I was offline the last time, by the way, is I just bought a bunch of these rigs that were a little bit bigger so that I can have some storage. So I have, you know, a couple of these for meds. I have one for my keys. I have one for food. And I have one for some grenades and some masks that I don't want to get rid of. And then I actually did buy a mag box and an ammo case. Or, well, I bought the stuff for an ammo case, and I ended up buying a mag box just to help my character out a little bit. But I don't plan on hoarding too many mags. There's no real reason. I will keep these ones. Actually, I'll just keep them loaded with the PS rounds. This rig right here, curious how much it sells to Ragman for. About the same that it's selling otherwise. And I don't need any more storage rigs, so I'm just going to get rid of it. This rig I think was almost empty. I'm not gonna use these bank robbers anymore, and so my preference will be the Wartech rig that I had before, or I'll end up using a rig similar to the one that I have on now. And I'm gonna try and I'm gonna think about that one. I might consider using these rigs since they're only just under 20k, and they have quite a bit more storage space. So yeah, I'm gonna ponder that one. Just keep on selling. So I'm gonna go over to Therapist. Therapist does pay the most for a lot of items, like this condensed milk. We're gonna sell the whiskey. Actually, no, not the whiskey. I think that's a barter item now that is worth more. Get rid of that. I do believe I need the croutons. Triton, check the price here. So 21k. Selling here for 16. The fees would be about 3,000. You know, so the interesting thing is this rig the Triton, selling for 21. This rig, selling for 22. This rig is better than the other one. And I mean, you might be able to like compare the weight. Maybe there's a significant difference. So we can see here, this one's 6 kilograms, but that's with all my stuff in it. So yeah, I don't know. Might be better off using these ones instead of things like the Triton. But anyway, I do need to level up Ragman. So even if I made a small bit more profit, I would sell to him anyways. We said that these headphones were worth a decent amount, and to Ragman, I saw that they were almost 29k. So this is something factor in, right? Like if I go to sell these headphones for the market value, the fee is 4,000, right? So that would mean effectively I'm getting 2,600 in profit. But if I sell the Ragman, I'm getting almost 2,900 in profit. So always be mindful of that. And you want to consider it whenever you're thinking like, you know, how much money can I make off of these things? RAM has significantly dropped in price, so I'll try and remember this. It might go up a fair bit more, and I may be, you know, not getting quite the right value for this, but I'm just gonna sell it here for now. Whiskey, I think, is worth more than the 30k. Yeah. And I usually will just undercut the market by $1. It's my go-to strat. I think I am going to start saving some dog tags. I just need to figure out like how I want to go about doing that. So maybe we'll toss them in there. I will need some dog tags for quests, but otherwise I'm not gonna be hoarding them. I wasn't sure about the filters, so that was an item that I took out to try and discover what the price was, and this is worth about 15k a square. Red powder I think is worth quite a bit. Yeah. And just for simplicity of button clicks, I'm gonna, you know, a little bit less than that market value. Don't know what these crowbars are going for. And Jaeger would pay the most for them, but we're just gonna sell it to Fence anyways. 104 key, worth 11k there. Therapist is paying same. Let's get rid of this chocolate. It's another nice find. So I'm going $1 below, like, you know, I can see here that the price is actually going to go up to like 53. I could put it there, but I just want this to move quickly. The knife, I'm just going to sell the Fence. Again, normally I would sell all my knives to Jaeger, but don't have him unlocked yet. That will be soon. Soap is a good barter item, but I am not going to have the space to keep these items, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And if I do need soap for a particular barter, I'll buy it then. Same with my Helix. Relay, how much are you worth? Okay. Wasn't sure if it was over 10k a square. I can get that sold. Wires. Still doing alright. So I can see here it gets up. So if like you were really wanting to min-max your time here, you could try and, you know, get a little bit more out of the spaces that you have, but I want my spaces to move. I don't want anything to like lock up on me so that I can't keep moving my things or my you know what I want to sell on the flea. I'm gonna check my money. Oh yeah, I actually have an ammo case. So SMB is a nice ammo for me to use. These BP rounds, I'm just gonna sell. $2,400 a bullet. Goodness. So I'm stopped for now. I'm going to organize some more of my stuff. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. These croutons, I believe I do need for a task. I think I have a bit more room in here. And so, like, you know, originally I believed that this was the weapon to use because it had the ability to mount a side optic on it. It could be reasonably cheap, but I'm sitting at 85 vertical recoil when compared to this one here at 69 vertical recoil. You're getting a much better experience from the RPK for a larger investment, but I feel like the effectiveness that I'm able to create with this weapon is worth the extra cost, and I can make up that difference. I can make the extra, you know, 30, 40, 50K, no problem with my money runs. In fact, here I'm going to have, you know, a fair bit of income just from that one run, and that wasn't even a money run like I can do on my scavs. So I'm going to do a quick money run on the scav, and then that'll be the last raid. We'll see what kind of profit we can end up with for the day. Those lamps have gone up in price. Wasn't sure if that mag would end up being a fair bit more expensive. So unfortunately, like normally I would just you know, move through this stuff later on, but I don't have the space to do that. I kind of have to sell it all. See what this gun's going for on the market. 20k. Let's rip the mag out, keep that for later. Just sell it to the dude. We got PS rounds here. I think I can just keep those on my player. This is another one that I'm going to sell. What's Crickent worth? Okay. So I'll leave those up at the top for sales for later. Take this helmet. Put it down with my other stuff. And I think I'm good to go. I don't know how I want to do my inventory right now. Doesn't really help. Anyway. Okay, so scav run time. I'm just going to put this on my character. Let's collect our money to see how well we did. So I'm out now to 2.1 mil. Doing well. I've got another wallet to help me organize my stuff. I've got all this space here for if I, you know, get out of my scav run alive. And what I'll do just to create a little bit more is I'm going to stack my backpacks up and I'm going to put my largest backpack on my player. And then if I had another weapon, I could, actually I guess I can put that one on my character too, just to get all the space. I guess this doesn't matter because I'm holding my backpack. So I got a lot of space. All right, let's see what we can do here. So I'm actually hoping that I have one of the low timed scav runs. I want the raid to basically be like 12 to 13 minutes. You can load into these with more than 30, and some people say that they've loaded into them with less than 10. I haven't seen the less than 10 one, but I have seen it like really close to it, like 10 minutes, 30 seconds. And so my main focus here is going to be increasing my space, because the more space I have, the more profit I can make. And then I'm going to be searching for as many hidden caches and adjacent containers while on my way to the extract. So as soon as I load in, I'm going to get my character all set up, figure out where I am. Once I know where I am, I'm going to figure out where I need to go, where my extract is, and then I'm going to, like I already have a loot route that I do pretty consistently, similar to the one that I did just last raid. And what I'm going to do is make a route that allows me to hit as many containers on the way to my extract. Depending on the amount of time that's left in the raid, I might end up spending a little bit more time in a particular place if there's an abundance of time. We'll see. So if you're someone that just got access to the flea market, you're newer to the game, or maybe you're on the cusp of getting access to the flea market, I hope you found some of the content that I was you know, showcasing in this live stream valuable. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can do so on Discord, on Twitter, on Reddit, any of the places that I'm active, and I use the same branding everywhere, so you should be able to locate me in the same name. Yeah, I'm more than happy to cover any questions that people bring up on live on stream too. That was part of what led me to this this live stream here. Someone wanted to talk about entry level or a budget kit and the most effective one that I felt that you could use. And so that's where our focus went. So I've got 32 minutes. I'm actually on a perfect side of the map. Passage between rocks and factory far corner are on the exact opposite side, which is awesome. So now I'm just going to check my loadout. We don't have anything fancy, and let's get a loot run here. So 30 minutes means that there will still be some players around, so I will have to be cautious, but I'm going to be able to spend about 10 minutes in this container area over here. So I find this to be probably my preferred spawn location for this kind of run with this much time left. If I was under 10 minutes or really close to it, this spawn might not be as advantageous because it would take me a bit of time to traverse to the other side of the map. But this is, I think it's going to work out perfect. So I'll employ a very similar strategy that I want to come around each corner ready just in case I do need to fight, but if I don't have to fire a single shot this raid, I'll be fine with that. Relay good, tape's good. Flex, I think it's pretty good. And if you're in the process of learning all of the different items, like what's valuable, what's not, it might be better to focus on what's not valuable early on, and then you can slowly build up your kind of repertoire of understanding as time goes on. Wait, did I? There we go. Just a little jiggle peek there. There's some visual glitch that I've been noticing the last couple times I've played, and it looks like the light turns into a flash because of the sun. It's very odd. There's a key spawn that spawns right in these slats right here, and I have yet to find it. I know that it exists because I have read several guides that have told me so, but I haven't been able to prove its existence yet. Bolts, good money. Bolts are worth like 40k. Just give a little peek to see if anyone's coming. Organize my loot a little bit. There's a key spawn on the seat right there. Not here today. I always try and face my character in the direction that I want to be looking in whenever I'm looting. So there's like a second after you hit the interact button that you can still perform other inputs. And that's why I'll often turn my character in a different direction than what it is that I'm looting in. We got a grip. This isn't worth that much. I will definitely get rid of this if I need more space. A lot of the higher end grips are worth a lot to be looted out of the raid. So like right there was some like weird visual light flash that happened. Jackets are your best friends. They will earn you all of the keys. Oh, 110's a good key. Who doesn't need a pack of cigarettes as a scav, right? Does my guy have a cigarette on his face? Nope, non-smoker. Let's get rid of him. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. So same strategy as on that PMC raid that I did. Just nice, slow, methodical movement. He got me. Nice shot, dude. I was crouching and tried to shoot him through the glass. And there we go. So homie with the budget kit got me. And his little pistol. What was he using? Oh, I won't be able to tell. Head jaws. Gotta protect your face. There we go. That was unusual. I'm surprised that we saw him. I'm even more surprised that we didn't just murder the dude. I need to get my cursor a little higher. All right. Well, that's it. No more budget run. But overall, quite successful in terms of profit earned. We had a really good PMC run. And yeah, that scav run, you know, if you if you don't run into anybody is rather easy. If you do run into people, you can often avoid them. In that situation, they're unavoidable. Yeah, I definitely had a chance to kill him. I saw his, so he had one of these helmets on, and if you see these helmets, you generally know the guy's not wearing super good gear, but who knows what he had on his chest. And I was not using good shoddy rounds. So we're at 2.1 mil. If I was to buy this weapon over, I could buy, you know, so they're like around 80k, 80, 90k for all in. So I could buy 10 of them per mil. So I can just keep buying these guns, and I'm quite convinced that I should never really spend less than this unless I'm using, you know, super budget weapon. Oh yeah, and this is a good example of when to use mechanic. So I usually use proper most of the time, but if mechanic is under like 10k or, you know, proportionately it's quite cheap,